start introducing and moving to the next session.
Right? All right. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Please, let's take that final sip of water and let's get back to our chairs. We are going to have a very interesting workshop by StressAcademy. So who is StressAcademy? StressAcademy is a nonprofit organization of physicians, psychologists, Jain philosophy experts, and volunteers who are on a mission to empower people to become resilient to stress and conquer stress from within. It involves providing the tools to manage perceptions, beliefs, emotions, and lifestyle, resulting in improved emotional, mental, and physical well-being of the people. So first speaker is going to be Dr. Pritesh Mutha, who is an MD, a published researcher, and a professor with expertise in advanced endoscopy and, okay, this is going to be a tongue twister, so I'm going to try my best, and esophageal motility in the field of gastroenterology. He has a special interest in lifestyle medicine and non-pharmacological management of gastrointestinal and pancreatobiliary illnesses. That's where this came from. Our second speaker is going to be Prerit Shah. Prerit is an experienced aerospace engineer and data scientist who enjoys learning and teaching Jain philosophy. And our third speaker is going to be Dr. Amee Mehta, who is an experienced family medicine physician and a public health specialist. Her expertise includes providing personalized care for acute and chronic medical and psychological conditions. Dr. Mehta will also guide us into a short meditation at the end, and it's very interesting. I've done it, and I loved it. Finally, they integrate Jain philosophy in their practices to help improve emotional well-being and resilience. So StressAcademy, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Gandhi, for such a kind introduction. We want to thank YJP for the invitation to come present to you all today. So Jai Jinendra, everybody. Now, we will start with a brief introduction of StressAcademy, and then we'll move on. So this is a brief video to see what StressAcademy is all about, and then we'll go on and continue with our talk. So here I go. All right. Let's see if it's going to work. Oh, okay.
Hello, friends. You may be wondering if the StressAcademy is a new way to get stressed out. Don't worry, you have enough reasons for stress already, so no need for one more. We're also not here to sell you another stress-relieving supplement, essential oil, or to advertise anything. The StressAcademy is a nonprofit group of physicians, psychologists, philosophy experts, and volunteers dedicated to empowering people in their quest to conquer stress from within at no cost. The StressAcademy offers a free video series, The Story of Stress, based on the logical framework of Jain philosophy, along with scientific evidence, which will allow you to define and identify stress and its causes with complete clarity. It will also give you insights from research in the fields of psychology and neuroscience on the topics of stress and emotions. The video series is augmented by real-life scenarios and guided meditations in the timeless technique of Bhed Vigyan, the art of self-identification. You will learn to systematically identify, contain, reduce, and uproot stress, as well as other mental health issues such as anxiety and depression. By practicing these techniques, you will feel empowered to prevent and counter stress even during difficult situations. And you will learn to control emotions, beliefs, attitude, and lifestyle. Please join us as we embark on this journey of conquering stress from within. You can find more information at stressacademy.org.
All right. So that's what Stress Academy is all about in brief. So today's talk, we're going to cover a few things in the next hour. First, the goal is to help you learn clear and objective definition of stress. Then you want to understand, where does stress truly originate and where is it felt? Know what is the root cause of stress, and then provide you with introductory knowledge to get rid of stress from its root, and also followed by meditation, as Dr. Gandhi mentioned earlier, to give you a taste of how you can actually do that. At the end, we'll be happy to take question and answers that you may have. So, we all learned from Dr. Iyer, just the keynote speaker, an excellent talk on stress, right? How widespread it is, how rampant it is, how widely spread across all the geographical, political, socioeconomic groups. And everybody, up to 70% of the people experience stress. It not only causes mental issues leading to depression, anxiety, up to suicide, like about every 40-second, one person commits suicide in the entire world. Up to age of 55, it's one of the top 5 leading cause of deaths. So there are lots of mental issues, but it is also one of the major cause of physical issues, physical diseases, such as cancer, heart diseases, high blood pressure. The list goes on and on. And look at that, with such widespread problem, there's a big irony. This picture kind of shows you the irony. Both the kids got the same cupcake, but look at the one. One is happily enjoying on the right side. On the left side, not very happy, right? Very sad, because stress is very subjective. One person may feel the stress, the other one may not in the same exact situation. American Institute of Stress does not have a clear definition of stress. APA, American Psychological Association, even they do not have a clear definition of stress. They say that, everybody knows stress, but no one really knows. No one truly knows. This research has been done on this topic for decades. Still, there is no clear definition of stress for psychology or psychiatry. Such a serious problem, right? All right, let's see. Another problem is that, if you don't know the definition, how are you going to fix it? If you have heart disease, the artery is blocked. So you will work on it to actually open up the arteries. So once you know the problem, you're actually able to define it, identify it, comprehend it, you can fix it. The problem with stress is you cannot define it very well. If you cannot define it, comprehend, understand it, how are you going to be able to fix it? Well, we know there's no definition. We know there's no clear ability to understand and comprehend it, but maybe we know where it originates, right? Where does it really originate? Can we put up the poll here to see if what audience thinks, where does the stress originate? Is there a way we can put up the poll here?
There we go.
All right, excellent. So in the question, you see there are 5 options. Is the brain where the stress originates? Chemical, we see all in the Bollywood movies, chemical melocha, right? An endocrine system, all the hormones, the different hormones that you may have. Is that the cause of stress? Gut, you feel sick in your stomach, butterflies in your stomach. 85% of those chemicals are in the stomach. Is that the cause of stress? Or heart, racing of your heart, pounding of your heart. Is that the cause of stress? Or none of these? Which one is it truly? Let's see.
Please take a moment to vote, everybody. We want to get to as close to 100%. We're at 47% right now, so please keep voting. I'm going to close this poll shortly. Please vote.
See in this picture, there's lots of different systems identified. That may help you guide some. or may not. All right. So majority of you think stress originates in the brain. Some of you said endocrine system, gut, or heart. But 13% of you said none of the above. That's interesting. Let's see if which of this group is right group, or we think is the right group. You see, there is in this picture, you may see there is brain interacting with your sympathetic nervous system, your kidneys, your adrenal glands, which secrete hormones, and there is fight or flight response. So we will see what the current science, what neuroscientists have been able to figure out about the origination of stress. All right. We actually answered this poll. Does stress really originate in the brain as you all thought? Now, neuroscientists have done lots and lots of research on this over the past several decades. They identified some of the areas in the brain, like, cingulate cortex, insulate cortex, and they thought these are the areas where stress originates. For stress, we need to know where the awareness, emotions, beliefs are seated in your brain. And they thought these were the sites. But when they concluded that, then came these patients. There was one patient, R, in the University of Iowa, whose brain was scanned and these areas were severely damaged, but still he exhibited awareness, emotions. At University of Leeds, there are lots of functional MRIs on these patients who were in vegetative state, and still they elicited emotions and awareness. So the question still remained, where does the stress, emotions, beliefs actually originate in the brain? Despite all the cutting edge technology, all the experience, all the research, neuroscientists haven't been able to pinpoint where exactly it occurs. So let's see, where does stress originate per Jain perspective? Does Jain perspective have something to say about this? For that, we need to understand the concept of substance and attributes. Now, matter particles have attributes. Matter particles our brain and body is made up of matter particles, right? So everything that we see around is made of matter particles. What are the attributes of matter particles? Touch, taste, color, smell, mass, temperature, and so on and so forth. But do they really have beliefs, emotions, awareness? Think of this robot. Even robot is made of matter particles. Does it have emotions? Does it have beliefs? Does it have awareness? The information is stored in it. It is made up of matter particles. It may have the most advanced software, but it does not have these emotions. Even the human dead body will have all the attributes of matter particles. It will persist, touch, taste, color, smell, but it does not have emotions, beliefs, knowledge, none of these things. So what are the attributes? Which substance has these attributes? What do you all think? Consciousness, jeev. It's something separate from your body. It's a substance similar to matter particles, a separate substance, but it has the attributes of knowledge, beliefs, emotions. This is where humans have that consciousness and not the matter particles. This is how we separate. So per Jainism, stress originates in consciousness and not in the matter particle. How can you say that? How can you say that there is something as consciousness? Can you really explain this? Is there any scientific evidence for it? Well, Dr. Ian Stevenson and Dr. Jim Tucker at University of Virginia have studied more than 2,500 cases of kids who remember their past life memories. They did their research, they did studies, and they realized these kids had knowledge of their past life memories. They carried those emotions, they had those beliefs. So they realized that knowledge, emotions, beliefs, these are the attributes that survive death. These kids didn't have that same body as from before, didn't have the same brain as they had in their past life, but they had the knowledge, they had the memory. So this proves that they had consciousness, which has these attributes, which were transmitted. It does not die with death. It survives death. It reincarnates. It persists. It's everlasting. It just changes its form. Even Dr. Brian Weiss in New York have really researched a lot about this and have done lots of past life regression therapies, wherein they take the patients to their past life and help them treat these disorders. A lot of medical literature is published on this. So there's a separate substance besides body, which is made of matter particle. This separate substance is consciousness or soul or Atma, as we know, which survives death and which is the origin of stress. Well, from here on, I'll give it to Prerit to take this presentation further.
Thank you, Dr. Mutha, for taking us through this medical aspects regarding stress. And we'd like to thank YJP for giving us this opportunity to talk about StressAcademy. So what I want to do is, before I get into any more details, we talked about where it happens and what substance it happens. And Dr. Pritesh Mutha covered that stress originates in the consciousness, right? So now let's switch a conversation a little bit. Let's talk about where does the stress, what do you think are the root causes of the stress? What do you think? So we can go to we can have another poll here, if that is ready. What do you all think? What is the root cause of stress? Is it the wealth? Or you may argue it's a lack of wealth, if not wealth. Or adverse situations? We feel like very adverse situations causing stress. Brain chemistry, like chemical locha, like we have heard in Munda by MBBS movie. Or genes. All of the above. Okay, let's see. Nobody answered wealth. Okay, all right.
Please, everybody, take a moment to respond to this poll. We want to get to as close to 100%. We're at 50% right now. Take a moment, please. There should be a pop-up right in front of you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So lots of people answering adverse situations. All of the above. Some with none of the above. Well, majority of the people are saying all of the above. It's interesting. All right, are we done with the poll? Should we end it?
Let's end it.
Okay. All right, so these are the results. So you can see majority of people answered all of the above. So if you feel like, yes, wealth, sometimes or lack of wealth that we may think is a problem. We feel financial distress, and it is a root cause of stress. Oftentimes we run into difficult situation. People feel like, okay, that is a cause of stress. But now what you want to do is you want to pay attention. You're asking for the root cause of stress, right? So let's analyze this problem a little further. I'm going to close this poll. Let's go to the next slide. So before I give you an answer, I want you to do a thought experiment, okay? So this experiment, suppose you are going to the park, you went to the park with your friends, you're taking a walk, and while you were walking, you suddenly saw a snake. So you paused, you instantly, you were alerted, and then you tell your friends, hey, everyone, please stop, there is a snake. So your friends look at it, and they tell you that, no, it's not a snake, it's just a rope. So in this situation, now think about it. In the very first instance, when you thought you saw a snake, obviously, you may have felt a little bit stressful or at least alerted, right? And so, what really caused that feeling of fear or, stress at the initial point, right? And then later on, when you assess the situation again, and when you learn that the object was not really a snake, it was a rope, and that fear vanished, right? So here, could you really say that your wrong knowledge led you to be fearful? Would you agree? Okay, so wrong knowledge leads to stress, right? And this is one of the thought experiment I wanted you to do. Let's go to the next slide. Let's look at another scenario. So what I want to prove here is not just the wrong knowledge, but there is something more besides it. So this is a story I'm going to tell you that you might have heard in your childhood, that there was a lady who had a child, infant child. Child was sleeping. They had a pet dog in the house. The lady wanted to step out for a few minutes, go to the next door. So a child was sleeping in a room inside, and she thought, I'll come back in a few minutes and dog will take care of the child. So she goes out, she comes back in a few minutes. When she comes back in the outside, when she enters the home, she first sees the dog with the blood on the mouth of the dog. And she instantly gets scared, starts thinking that, oh, my dog may have hurt my son, and what happened to my son, all sorts of feeling like that. And she starts hitting the dog with the stick, and she hits the dog to a point where the dog dies. And then after that, she walks into a next room where the child was sleeping, and she realizes that child was completely safe. In fact, there was a dead snake next to the child. So now she realizes a situation. The dog actually had saved the child from the snake, and the child was always safe. So in both the situation, let's compare the first instance where the lady thought that the son was harmed by a dog. She was really stressful. She was fearful. So in this situation, not only she perceived the situation incorrectly, but she also believed that this is the case. So you could say it was her wrong knowledge plus wrong belief. Both of them led her to be fearful, and not only fearful, it also led her to be angry, to a point that she killed the dog. So you can see the wrong combination of wrong knowledge and wrong belief leads you to stress, right? And this is a very easy thing that we realize in many different situations that this might happen with us. You may have experienced it plenty of times. So that leads us to next aspect. Now we can go into definition. Knowing all these scenarios and knowing these two instances, wrong knowledge and wrong belief, now we can define what stress is. And like Dr. Mutha mentioned, that there is no clear definition of stress early on. Now we are defining one. So stress is basically unnatural behavior of consciousness. Remember, the stress arises in the consciousness, not necessarily in the brain. There may be some instrumental or external factors in the brain, like brain chemistry, but it originates in the consciousness. It's unnatural behavior. And what it is, it's basically a wrong knowledge. It's unnatural behavior of the consciousness, characterized by a wrong knowledge, wrong belief, and uncontrolled emotions or passions. So these are the three primary pillars of stress: wrong knowledge, wrong belief, and uncontrolled emotions. As you can see, the picture kind of says these three pillars actually carry your burden of stress completely. If you can learn to break these pillars, then stress would definitely go down. So now let's go to the next slide. So now what I want to talk about is, so in the instances, the scenarios that I talked about, they were the examples of primarily the situational related wrong beliefs, right? So you saw a snake, but it wasn't a snake. Lady thought the child was hurt, but child wasn't hurt. And then these were the situation or events were not perceived properly, and that's why these emotions came about, right? Negative and uncontrolled emotions that came about. But now you could argue, right? What if the object was indeed a snake? Would you not feel fearful? In the second instance, you would argue, right, that what if dog had indeed harmed the child? Would that lady still not feel fearful or angry about it? Very well be, right? So then how can we say that the wrong knowledge and wrong belief, only wrong knowledge and wrong belief leads us to have this uncontrolled emotions, right? So that is where we want to go. So the wrong knowledge and wrong belief in this example that we covered were of situational in nature. They were related to the situation and events, how they were perceived. But there are, according to Jain philosophy, there are actually more. This subject is a lot deeper, actually. So it's not about just the situation and events. It's also about how we perceive ourselves, who we are, what do we believe ourselves and our existence as, and third thing, how do we interact with nature? What is our relationship with the rest of the surrounding universe and the nature? And all those types of wrong beliefs need to be addressed. So I'm gonna give you one example. Like, for example, if I continue to believe that my existence is only just this body and only this body, nothing beyond this body, right? Then I'm destined to feel stressful. it is inevitable, right? Because anything that is even slightly adverse to my body, I'm going to feel like, okay, it's end of me. And, there is no way out. I have to feel stressful because it's a harm to my body. Right? So that's why all these type of wrong beliefs need to be understood first and need to be addressed in a very systematic manner. Okay. We can go to the next slide. So now I want to ask you, we all have felt stress, right? It's not that we're just experiencing stress in the time of COVID-19. Even prior to that, stress has always been part of our life. We all feel that on a day-to-day basis. So I want to ask you, what have you all tried for resolving stress? You can type your answers in the chat box. What have you all tried? Maybe supplements or medicine? Let's see, what are the answers? Meditation, going for a walk, jogging, sleep, cold shower, cake. Wow, very interesting answers. Talking to kids, listening music. Wonderful. Okay, very good. So yeah, I mean, those are all the things that we try, right? Like, I'm gonna give you some examples. Like, a lot of times we try different medicines and supplements. That's also popular. There are so many supplements out there who claim to alleviate and resolve stress. Second, yoga, pranayama, breathing exercises that we try all the time. We feel that it's important to stay physically healthy, and physical health, well-being is important. Exercise, laughter, right? We try to watch comedy shows, or try to have a laugh, good laughter about something. Being social and talking to friends, family can help. So these are the things we have tried. Nothing wrong with that. I think those are the certainly things that might help. What I want to ask is, let's try this to your example, the previous scenarios that we covered. Do they really address the wrong beliefs and wrong knowledge? Because in the previous scenarios, we concluded that those are the wrong beliefs and wrong knowledge are the root causes of stress. Now, you may argue that there are lifestyle-related root causes too, right? Like if someone eats wrong, they eat too much, or they eat wrong type of food, that may lead to wellness issues or health issues, and that may lead you to stress. What I want to emphasize here is, even those type of lifestyle issues are also a result of uncontrolled emotions, right? So if we are too attached to something, we're going to keep eating and eating and eating without really striking that balance, or being mindful of what we can and cannot eat. So those are also lifestyle-related issues. Also tie back to your understanding, your perception, your beliefs, and in a way your uncontrolled emotions. So what I want to ask is, all these things are fine. They can help, probably can basically help you feel better for a little while. But do these things really address wrong knowledge and wrong beliefs? So in that situation, had I not corrected my perception that the object was not really a snake, you think I could have gotten rid of my stress at that point permanently? I mean, these things can suppress your emotions for a while and maybe take away your attention from the problem, make you feel better. But what I want to make you realize is, these things do not address the root cause of stress, which are the wrong knowledge and wrong beliefs. Not that I'm not saying you shouldn't try it, you should do it. Certainly do it for the physical well-being, emotion, and even to take your mind off if you're overwhelmed with other things. But if you really want to target the root cause, then what you have to understand is, you really need to understand what is the wrong knowledge and wrong beliefs. Okay, so next slide. So again, like I mentioned, this is about suppressing, and we want to go from not only suppressing but also addressing the stress. The next slide. Okay, so here what I want to do is, we covered some framework about Dr. Mutha covered the medical aspects related to stress, about where it originates. Then we took, we did a little bit of thought experiments in terms of coming to conclusion about the root cause. I want to take this time to kind of take a scenario, real life scenario that we are all going through, and let's see how these things that we just learned can be applied. So I know there is a lot of fear and anxiety surrounding COVID-19 situation that we are all going through. A lot of people may have gone through very difficult times in the last few months, including their loved ones. We totally understand that. Now, in terms of how do you resolve this? So first of all, let's try to understand why do we feel such a fear and anxiety. There are many stressors. Dr. Iyer covered there are a range of different type of stressors that lead us to feel fear and anxiety, a lot of these things. I want to go to one fundamental topic. So I'll take one example here. Suppose, say, if I am a health worker and I'm called for a contact tracing for a COVID, right? So I went for a contact tracing, and I come back, and the next day I have some mild cold, or maybe I'm a little bit of cough. What will happen is my mind will start wandering, and I'll start to think, hey, do I have COVID? Is this just beginning of COVID-19? Am I going to? What's going to happen next? What will happen? Will I be hospitalized or not? So all these anxieties start trickling in. Now, why? So it's not just the possible exposure, right? It's also about wrong belief that if I will have it, right? Now in few moments, like say if you go for a testing and then you realize that there is no COVID-19, you're COVID negative, then what will happen is your minus your basically sense of attachment that I am suffering through COVID will go away. And because of that you will not have that stress and anxiety surrounding what you would have felt prior to your testing. So what I want to tell you is, if you're only concerned about the body, and if you're thinking that your life is nothing beyond this body and only body is everything that you have, then there is no way for us to be not fearful and not feel through this anxiety, right? So what is it? Is there a perspective out there that can allow you to stay positive even among this cloud of uncertainty? And that is what we want to discuss. So we just learned that the consciousness, our real existence is not just body. Our real existence survives death, which is the consciousness. So if we can learn to contemplate about our consciousness, which remains unaffected from the physical diseases, then we have a perspective. Not that, I'm not saying that we shouldn't take any precautions about, protecting our body or all that. All that is very much necessary. But despite that, if there is no certainty that we won't get infected, then we need to have an alternate perspective. And the concept of consciousness gives us that alternate viewpoint that we can contemplate through. And as we contemplate that my real existence is not really affected by these type of diseases, we can learn to reduce our attachment to the body, and that allows us to feel better. And then the added bonus to that is, when you're not stressed out, it helps you maintain your immune system as well, and allows you to make more informed and rational decisions. And that comes with that belief that I am consciousness. I'm not restricted just to this body. And that is very important. So go to the next slide, please. So now we understood not only where stress comes from, where does it originate, but we also have gone through the root cause of it. We saw how it ties to a real life scenario. What I want to talk about is, what is a stress-free state? So in psychology, there has been a lot of emphasis on defining mental disorders, different diseases, but there has been not that much emphasis on defining the stress-free state. So from a Jain perspective, the inner joy and the peace arising from a detached state is that stress-free state. And this is not a state of emptiness, as you might have heard, that if you don't have an attachment, that you're empty. This is a concrete feeling of a bliss and peace from within. It is very practical. A lot of people come back and tell me that, oh, do I have to be a monk to achieve this? Or do I have to give up everything to achieve this? No. Even with this particular feeling of joy and peace you're talking about is not dependent upon sensory objects and external circumstances, but even that anyone can achieve that even in their day-to-day life by developing the right belief and the right knowledge. So you must develop the right knowledge and right belief surrounding consciousness, surrounding the rest of the universe, and how our interaction happens with the rest of the universe to kind of get to this state. But you don't really have to become monk. It's not a requirement that you have to give up everything to get to the state. Anyone can experience this state. So next. And another thing I want to mention is this state, a stress-free state, is actually accompanied by a sense of compassion and friendship and non-violence towards all living beings. So we can't really expect to be stress-free when if we are involved in all sorts of unethical, violent, and immoral acts. That's simply not possible. So that is a part, that is our external attitude, how we are going to have to behave with the rest of the universe, and what sense of compassion we have to follow with the rest of the universe, other beings. Next slide, please. So what's next? So Dr. Amee Mehta will take you from here.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Yes. So thank you, Prerit and Pritesh. You guys really explain everything very well about how wrong beliefs can cause stress and what causes wrong beliefs at first place. There are many here who possibly have understood and agreed to the concept that we are trying to explain, and some who may still want to know more before they can come to that conclusion. We hope you all follow StressAcademy to keep learning. But I'm sure everyone has a question about what do we do next with all this information. So we are presenting the timeless meditation technique of Bhed Vigyan from Jain philosophy in a guided meditation form that will teach us the art of self-identification, which is a process of identifying a true self. It will also help us correct our wrong beliefs and reinforce the correct beliefs of self as pure consciousness and not body. So is everyone ready? All right. So welcome to Bhed Vigyan. Pritesh, can you switch on the music?
Whoever is sharing it, they might need to unmute themselves for the video voice to come. Or maybe increase the volume from the computer.
Are you able to hear me? Are you
Now.
able to hear the music?
Now the music is coming, yes. But you need to increase the volume a little more.
Increase the volume a little more?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome to Bhed Vigyan, the art of self-identification. In this meditation, we will observe our body as a different entity than our consciousness. Practice this meditation every day or at least a few times a week to reinforce the beliefs for eliminating the root cause of stress. Please sit in a relaxed position. You may sit on the ground or on a mat or on a chair. Make yourself comfortable. Now keep the eyes closed and visualize. Bring attention to the legs. Observe them closely from hip to the toes. Observe any sensations. Observe the nature of the leg and how it is made up of countless matter particles. Visualize that the legs are unaware bodily objects, and I am the one who's observing them. I am one, the observer. While these matter particles are countless. These countless matter particles may have been part of soil in the past, which got absorbed by the roots of trees, transformed into fruit or grain, consumed as food by me, and now converted into a part of these legs. After death of this body, these particles may turn into ashes and will start a new journey. I am an ever-existing entity like these particles, though we all keep changing our forms. This is amazing. I'm not limited to just this body. I am permanent and beyond this transient body. Now shift the attention to the entire body, including legs, hands, torso, head, and neck. Visualize the countless matter particles that form its skin, blood, arteries, veins, bones, and muscles. The body parts have gone through injury, disease, or external calamities in the past. But I have simply remained the knower. Cuts or bruises on the body have not been able to hurt my awareness. What a beautiful state of existence I possess. My conscious existence remains untouched from the changes occurring in the human body. Now bring attention to the internal organs, such as the heart and lungs. Visualize the heart that is continuously pumping blood. Visualize the flow of blood traveling to every part of the body. Now visualize the lung that has been continuously breathing. Fresh oxygen coming into the body and carbon dioxide going out of the body through lungs. These organs do not have consciousness. These organs can be replaced by organ transplant. But my identity, my consciousness stays the same. What an amazing reality this is. My true existence is my consciousness. Now visualize sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, skin, and tongue. They sense information about external objects. Visualize nerves which connect eyes to the brain. They are simply carrying information received to the brain in the form of electrical signals. Visualize the brain and how it receives and processes information from the sensory organs in biochemical and electrical form. Just like the information processed by a computer, it is just the information and not the awareness. It is my consciousness that has awareness. What an amazing discovery this is. I have never been and will not be limited to my brain. After death, the body will turn into ashes, and I, my consciousness, will go out of the body. I will survive death. Now contemplate about the nature of yourself as a conscious being. It is ever existing beyond birth, beyond death. Now visualize the entire body from outside. Body is still and calm. And now, whenever it's comfortable, gently open the eyes. So, how do you all feel? I hope you all like. I'm sorry. I hope you all like it, and I'm going to pass on it to Pritesh, or is it Prerit? Yeah, we'll continue.
All right. Thank you, Amee, for conducting the meditation. So, we'll have some time for discussions and everything, but, before we go there, I just wanted to introduce the sources of this knowledge. So this knowledge that we have brought forward came from Tirthankar Mahavir and Acharya Kunkun in the 1st century CE, actually wrote it down into 2 of the Jain canons, Panchastikaya Sangra and Pravachansar. In fact, there are many other books he wrote, but these are 2 primary ones. And what we have covered today is barely scratching the surface, actually, because all we have learned is that the root cause of stress lies in our understanding, our knowledge, and our beliefs. Now, what are those root causes? What are those beliefs? What are those wrong forms of knowledge? So those type of assessment, learn more at StressAcademy. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We have a website as well. So you can learn more about emotions management, beliefs management, lifestyle management, all these aspects to manage stress. And we will be periodically, like we have about eight videos right now on our website. And this meditation has been recorded there. It's been out there. You can go there, watch those videos. They will cover concepts in more detail, as well as you can practice the meditation anytime. It's been recorded in Amee's voice. So Amee has taken a lot of time to record this meditation for everyone. So the takeaways, Pritesh, you want to cover the takeaways?
Sure. So that was excellent, Amee. It was really nice feeling. So as we covered the objectives initially, if you go back to the objective, think about it, what we started out was to know what is the definition of stress. So here we have kind of a short definition for you. It's, as Prerit mentioned, it's a pretty detailed one. But for starters, it's a combination of wrong knowledge that leads to wrong beliefs and uncontrolled emotions as a product of that. And this is what we define as stress. So you remember, current science have tried and tried and tried, but haven't been able to come up with a comprehensive definition of stress. But Jainism addresses and acknowledges this fact. There's another substance besides matter. And that's why we are able to explain this phenomena in great detail with all the exact etiologies, root causes of the problem, and provides amazing solution to it. Not only just provides it, you can walk on it. It's not like it's restricted to some elite people. No, every single one of us in our day-to-day life, especially in this COVID era, we can use this, change our thoughts, change our knowledge, change our beliefs, and control our emotions to be, if not rid of stress in the beginning, at least decrease stress eventually to get rid of it. Stress is it gets originated and it's felt in the consciousness, not in brain. Today, I had a discussion with my Pashala students and we had to go through this talk and everybody changed their answer. We had an assignment. What is the cause of stress? And at the end of assignment, they all were like, wait, it's not in the brain, it's elsewhere. We have free will to manage stress through our knowledge, beliefs, and intentions. We have to give credit to our free will. We cannot be like, oh, I'm so dependent on medication, so dependent on situation that I have no control over it. No, you do. You have the free will. And Bhed Vigyan is the one timeless technique that will help you walk this path and get rid of all the wrong beliefs and the stress in your life. And that's all we have for you. We would be happy to take questions, and we'll definitely, our website has all the information you need, and you can always reach out to any one of us. There's information on the website, and we will send our information to you all, so you can definitely reach out to us if you have.
And every month we keep releasing new videos, because this is a whole video series. There's the story of stress. It's supposed to be about close to 100 videos. So far we have released about 7, 8 videos. So, you'll learn more and more systematically in every video, and we release about 1 or 2 videos a month. And they're very short videos. They're only 6, 7-minute videos, so it wouldn't really take up a lot of your time.
So Prerit, now will be a good time to actually share the link for the Stress Academy again. So the people are coming to the questions, so we'll take that. But I think some of the link videos, this is a good time to share it in the chat. And then
I'll type
questions. Or maybe we can do it like at the end. So
let's we'll do it at the end. Yeah, we'll take questions for now, and then at the end we'll type up all the information.
Over to you, Varun.
Thank you so much, Stress Academy, Dr. Mutha, Dr. Mehta, and Prerit for this insightful conversation on stress. So people in the audience, please type in your questions. We're going to take questions right now. The first question is: addressing wrong knowledge / belief needs time and effort. What are good ways to address instant stress triggers, as for example, someone's behavior, someone's words, someone's actions, etc.? Great question.
I'll take this one, and then I'll hand it over to Prerit first. Well, you're right. It takes some time. Definitely, it does take some time. Just like when somebody has a disease, since I'm a doctor, I'm going to talk about disease. If somebody has fever, I'm going to treat with Tylenol to suppress the fever, right? That does not take care of the disease per se, but it's suppressing their symptoms. Similarly, there are lots of factors. What you eat is what you become, right? Your body is made of food particles you eat. So watching your food makes a huge difference. We have this phenomenon of sattvic food. It's not just some abstract philosophy, but if you see what kind of food you put in, helps you handle the stress better. It is definitely complementary to the root cause. So having the right food, sattvic food, abhaksha, avoiding those passionate foods, intense foods, tamasic is the word. So you avoid that, you avoid eating at night. So you eat less frequently, and eat such a food that is not going to aggravate you. There is American College of Lifestyle Medicine to actually address this. There is you can go on the website, you can Google it, American College of Lifestyle Medicine. There is Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Veganism is pretty widespread nowadays, but it's not just veganism, it's a whole foods, plant-based diet. So that's one thing. Second is good sleep habits. Of course, doing yoga, pranayama, exercises. But besides that, social connectedness, gratitude, feeling of gratitude. These are certain things that you can help. There are about 6 such factors you can do. At the same time, you do not stop doing this or do not stop working on this part, because unless and until you fix this, anything and everything you do is going to be transient, temporary, is going to last only for a few minutes to a few hours, sometimes to a few days. Even when we give medications to patients with depression, we don't say the patient is cured. We say it's in remission. That means it's suppressed. That means we know the medications may fail or the patients may relapse. That is, disease will come back. So all of this is just to get you through that hump. But in the meanwhile, you have to work on the root cause. And that will not only help you in the end, but it will start helping you right away. And Prerit, do you want to add to some of this?
Right. There is another aspect to it I'd like to address here. So diet is also a very important factor, but another aspect that we oftentimes overlook is about our values and behaviors. So think about it, like if we engage in immoral or unethical activities or illegal activities, they're going to bound to disturb our balance, in terms of how we think. We're going to be more worried. So another aspect, besides that, is making sure that we live nonviolent, ethical, and moral behavior. And there is that code of conduct that plays a great role in terms of, how peacefully we can live and without stress. So that is another aspect. If we do things in a right way, we behave in a right way and do certain things in a right way, you won't have to deal with unnecessary stress that, we take on while, after, if we were to lie, and then we have to face, hey, what if my lie gets uncovered, So some of the things that will help with the instantaneous stress as well.
I wanted to chime in as well. In addressing, someone's words or actions and someone's behaviors, I think also having the right knowledge and belief about why that person may be saying something like this, why that person is, doing this to me, or their actions. If we have the right belief and right knowledge about their intentions, then it may help us to react better. So again, all this takes long time and effort, as you have mentioned, but it's good to start developing that kind of an approach that can help us react when the time comes.
Thank you. Completely agree with Dr. Mutha when you mentioned vegan food. I'm vegan, and French fries is vegan too. So, it's not always healthy. You mentioned tamasic and sattvic. Can you give a few examples of those kind of foods?
Certainly. So if, anything that is processed food is going to be a problem. Falls in tamasic food. You eat at night, that food becomes tamasic food. You eat stale food, that becomes tamasic food. The food that is made, prepared by hurting a lot of living beings, not a sattvic food. So when you follow true Jain core diet, when they, people say Jainism is all about diet. It's not all about diet. And diet is one of the key part that we keep on doing 3 times a day, every single day, right? So it's very important. And diet, the food particles make you who you are. So this kind of diet, all kind of illicit substance use, alcohol, smoking, and stuff like that, even processed food, chocolate, sugar, refined sugar is a processed food. That's going to cause problems. So Iambil is one of our Ras Satyag is one top we call it, and we do Iambil, right? Wherein we avoid lots of substitute articles, different kinds of foods, and focus only on certain foods. If you have that kind of diet, just try it for a few days. Try doing Iambil. In the same situation, stressful situation that you're in, otherwise, when you do this Iambil and actually are in that situation, you're going to be able to handle it much better than otherwise. So the right diet is wherein you're not hurting animals, you're not hurting other living beings or minimize the hurt. At the same time, it's not processed. It's not going from farm to factory to your table. It's coming from farm to your table. And then you add gratitude to it. So more and more Jain principles you follow in terms of your diet, you're reaching the core part of it. But remember, you're right. Veganism is a popular word, but all kinds of processed. Oreo cookies are vegan. French fries are vegan. If they're processed, of course, at home and not in a non-veg restaurant, then it's not vegan, definitely. But that's vegan is not just being vegan is the right. It's plant-based, whole foods, plant-based diet with compassion associated with it.
Right. Yeah, and also I've seen videos where when we have food cooked in temples, food cooked at home, they kind of have like it's a gratitude while they're cooking. They're always kind of putting that energy into the food, and I feel like that energy transfers directly into the food. And when people eat that food, they get that gratitude, they get that feeling. I can totally relate to what you just said, because anytime I eat something, I always check in with myself. How do I feel? We tend to just eat it and then forget about it and move on to the next thing. I always sit down, and an hour later, 2 hours later, the next morning, how do I feel about the food I ate yesterday?
Very good. Very good thought process looking back. But remember, this is just the Tylenol. It's not treating the root cause. So you have to work on the root cause. And that's the whole point of having StressAcademy. The whole videos will go and break it down to you in every single aspect. And this thought that it takes really long time, it's really a little bit flawed philosophy. It will take some time to go to 100%, but from 0 to 1 to 2, you're moving forward, and it's definitely helping you transform what you're thinking. So don't think that it's going to take forever and I'm not going to start the journey. It's not like unless you reach 50% or 100%, you're going to not feel the benefit. The moment you start the journey, you feel the benefit. I hope some of you after this 1 hour will start feeling the benefit if you start really thinking about it. So every minute you put in is going to reap benefits for you.
Yep, definitely. A walk of 100 miles always begins with one step. So you always have to take that first step, and to get there. Okay, we have a question. Let's see. So emotional, uncontrolled emotions, right? I tend to react sometimes when, let's say, for example, my team is losing, and Falcons are losing, and I just kind of react at the TV. How do I control myself? How do I kind of pull back? How do I address those uncontrolled emotions that just tend to kind of like come out of me?
Prerit, do you want to take this?
Yes. So again, first thing to controlling the emotion is recognizing that we are in charge of the emotions, right? That a lot of times, if we are already put the burden of emotions on circumstances, that it's coming because of circumstances or someone else's behavior or something else, we can never take charge of it. So first thing, recognizing that it comes from within, and we have an ability to either make the choices, like you had mentioned in the beginning, what choices you make. Either the choices you make, are they going to be harmful to you, or they will be helpful to you, right? So you have the choice. No matter how difficult the circumstances are, you still have a choice, because that is what the concept of free will of the consciousness is about. That and that's why you find that even among the most difficult situation, people's response vary. Some people may find even the slightest difficult situation may find it very, very difficult, but some people may find even the most difficult situation as like navigating it through easily, right? So understanding that we are in charge, we have a choice, and then understanding, applying these different various type of situations, that look, there are emotions. We all will go through different type of emotions, because our day-to-day life, that's all we do, right? We go through from one emotion to another. But understanding that there is a balance that we need to strike, and excess of any emotion, whether be it a positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant, it's just not right. So more we learn about what emotions are beneficial to us, what emotions are not beneficial to us, and how they harm or help us, then we can learn to manage them. So if you think about it in simple ways, from a Jain perspective, philosophy perspective, we have 4 kashayas, 4 passions that we normally do: anger, ego, deceit, and greed, right? So none of us would call any of these 4 as a helpful, right? I mean, we might come across it, and we might do it inevitably, because we are not in fully control. We don't control it fully, or we don't know how to control it. But it doesn't mean that they're helpful, right? So more and more we realize this, and oftentimes what happens is, another thing I want to mention is, most of the people, when they think of stress, they think of the active current feeling that they're feeling, like unpleasant emotions, as stress. So if I'm under financial distress right now, and if I feel fearful or stressful, I'm going to call it a stress. But let's say if I'm going to a different situation, if I start watching the TV and I forget about that problem for a time being, I feel like I'm not stressed. That is not a right notion to think of stress. By simply ignoring the problem, we are not necessarily solving it. And until the problem is within, in the wrong knowledge and wrong perceptions, it's going to come back again and again. So time to resolve stress is actually when you are feeling you're not in stress. That is a time to, it's like in Gujarati, there is this proverb, when there is a flood, you can't build a wall, right? Like in Gujarati, means when there is a flood, you cannot build a wall at that time. So you have to prepare in advance. Those adverse situations, conditions are going to come. And if you prepare with the right understanding, right beliefs, and the contemplation of the right things, then you're going to be able to navigate it quickly. And even if those emotions come, they will come, you'll realize it, and you'll be in charge again, back quickly.
I want to take a second to remind everybody to please turn on your videos. Everybody, please turn on your videos so we can make this as interactive as possible. And Prerit, I want to kind of take that a little further. You said that passion, right? Passion. You're talking about passions. How do we become passionless? Like that's
Okay.
a big topic, right? Does it mean that we are indifferent?
No. Okay. So again, passionless, this journey, like Pritesh mentioned, it's not a journey of one day, right? And nobody's expecting that we're going to be like from 0 to 100 in one day, right? This is a progressive journey. But the point is, any small steps that we take, you're going to see instantaneous difference, actually. One of the biggest misconception that I've heard from, like, a lot of people from the Jain community, a lot of time people, when they don't understand the concepts in detail, they say that, oh, it's going to help me in next life. So, why do I want to wait till next life? It's not going to help me in this life. No, the point is, the more you correct your beliefs and emotions and more you contemplate about the right type of emotions and how you control them, it's going to help you right away, instantaneously at that very point in time. So that is where you want to go. And again, passionless is not a, actually there are whole stages. So in StressAcademy, the philosophy we have, and which is very much based upon Jain philosophy, is that, like, let me take an example of a cancer, right? When there is a cancer is detected, right? What would doctors do is, first they will try to contain it. Let's not let it spread in other parts of the body, right? So that is, a containment is a first strategy you apply, that let it be contained in a local region. Once it's contained, then you say a patient may be in a lot of pain. So, the idea may be to make the patient feel comfortable. So intensity reduction, reduce the intensity of the disease. That may be the next step, right? So that is another part. Then once the patient is at a stable state, then you can say that, hey, let's now address the root cause of it. So let's now perform a surgery or whatever the other treatment that might be needed to remove the cancer or whatever. And then, what they would do is, once that is done, then you will address any of the minor side effects of the treatments that may have come across, and you also work on a prevention plan simultaneously so it doesn't reoccur. The strategy to manage stress is just like that. It's not about going to passionless state from 0 to tomorrow, like you're becoming monk. It's not like that. First, there are a host of lifestyle and attitude related issues that we discuss in StressAcademy, like managing the goals and the priorities in the right manner. If we have too ambitious and unreasonable goals, there is no way but you'll feel stressed, right? So there are things around lifestyle, things around attitude, around how we approach things that allows us to contain stress. Second aspect is about getting into habit of an introspection of self every day. And that allows you to then quickly take charge of yourself and reduce the intensity of your passions and kashas. Third stage is then, along with that, by studying the right principles, you correct the wrong beliefs and wrong understanding and wrong knowledge. And that allows you to target the root cause. And then eventually, then you realize with practice, you get better and better and better every single day. Does that answer your question?
That definitely does. Thank you for sharing that. We have a question from our audience, from Vivek. He said, 420, I guess marijuana, is used to relieve stress, but it may not be sattvic, right? Correct?
Yes.
Is it sattvic? Or
No, it's not.
and not? Okay. And so the further question is, as experts in the science of stress, what are your thoughts on that?
So multiple things. Now, first of all, you have to think about this, that their source of protein could be, I'm going an analogy. The source of protein could be animal protein or could be plant protein. So people say, oh, it's absolutely needed. Is it really needed? If you can get the similar benefit from something that is not going to be addictive, it's not going to hurt others, then definitely that's the one I'll use. Again, this is like a Tylenol for fever. It's not getting rid of the root cause. So even if you're taking marijuana or cannabinoid, whatever you want to call it, or there are different names, the oil stuff, whatever, different doses have different effects because there are endocannabinoid receptors in our body. So there are those receptors, but you have to think about it. If there are receptors in our body inherently has the capacity to make those kind of molecules. That's why it has receptors. It doesn't have receptors because that molecule is outside somewhere. So you don't need to put in something. Your body can make it. And how can you do? There are plenty of videos. If you just Google it, meditation itself can bring about changes in your body. Meditation itself can bring a change in your shape of your brain, the chemical formulations. The breathing exercises can do that. So inherently, you can do that. And that's again targeted to suppress that feeling at that time. Again, going back to the same cause, we have to keep that focus. while we're working on the symptom, just like an infection, we're taking Tylenol to suppress the fever. We're taking antibiotics to address the bacteria, and then we're working on improving our immunity and avoiding the exposure to these bacteria. So we're working three-pronged approach. In the root cause, if we work on that, we'll never be able to, and we'll never end up in this situation. Similarly, if you have stress, you don't need to go to addictive substances, because I can outline hundreds of problems of marijuana because it's such a big industry. It is being misguided. There's so much problem for marijuana. I mean, and there was a recent article published. If mothers who are pregnant are taking it, the kids end up with serious psychological and brain disorders if they were exposed to it when mom was taking it when they were pregnant. So if something is that dangerous, if something is that addictive, you don't want to go to that. There are plenty of other options for suppressing that stress at that time, but work on the root cause. And that's why we are here. 7 addictions you definitely want to stay away from. There is no way. People say alcohol helps me sleep, but we know alcohol actually causes the other effect. Temporarily, you may feel that it's helping you, but it's really hurting you in the long run. So any and every addictive substance is just going to hurt you.
We have a question for Gaurav. It says, how do we address the stubborn belief that one is holding for many years? The small belief creates so much hate about someone that creates a huge stress. For example, many youths hold clutch about a wrong incident from their past and their parents might have done, or maybe we misunderstood. So how do we address that?
Right. So first of all, I want to ask, are you talking about your belief or someone else's belief?
So I am also included.
All right. Yeah. So again, look, like we mentioned, right? Everyone has control over their own beliefs, right? And like nobody is in a position to forcibly change others' beliefs, right? At the most, what you could do is, okay, provide facts, provide reason, explanation, and all that. But there is no guarantee that the other person will change their belief, right? So the idea here in Stress Academy, we focus on changing person's own beliefs and changing person's own understanding and knowledge and emotions, so that person can overcome stress. And because you do have direct control over your own emotions and your beliefs and your understanding. Yeah, but if you're talking about others' belief, all you can do is put the right facts in a right manner, in a calm and friendly manner. But that's all about you can do. You can be empathetic to that situation, that, hey, look, I understand, but maybe this is the right way to move forward, you know. But there is no guarantee that the other person has to take our opinion or, you know, believe in what we are asking them to believe, right?
I can definitely relate to that. During this situation, kind of moved with my parents. So that stubborn beliefs and trying to change somebody else, it does not work. You know, you can do your best, but it's always going to have some sort of clashing against it. So I completely agree with that. All right, let's see. What's the next question? If everything happens as desired and there's no reason to stay unhappy, do you think that is a stress-free life? I want to understand happiness versus stress. Can we say that stress is something that keeps us in equanimity at all times?
So what I want to talk about first is, commonly there are 2 main misperceptions about what is a stress-free life. One is stress is equated to a lot of times a physical relaxation. So people think if I'm physically relaxed and feeling calm, then it's a stressful life. Okay, and that may be a component of it, not denying that. Second part is, a lot of times people mislead themselves by thinking that when you're in a materially pleasant state of mind, so you know you're enjoying material pleasures or sensory fulfillment, then it's you know I'm not in stress. Again, that is not right, because no matter how much we wish, we know that we never control the situation, and things never go 100% according to our plans. It has never been that way for anybody, to my knowledge. So think that, you know, things will be always as per the plan it's kind of, you know, at Stress Academy, we kind of, you know, take a very broad perspective about stress, you know. So stress normally, like I mentioned, most people think of stress as an active stress. the type of feeling, unpleasant emotions that they're feeling at the moment. But at StressAcademy, the other two layers of stress or types of stress, we call a dormant stress. One is a dormant. So dormant is you had a negative emotion from the past, a grudge or some sort of problem that you had built with someone. And then you move on, you forgot about it, you are in a different situation, you forgot about that situation. You are not recalling it, that's all. But that problem is still there, that negative emotion is still there. So the moment it may surface, it will just become very active. Another type of stress is potential stress. And this is really worth understanding for anyone who thinks that they never feel stress, right? There are a lot of people who feel that I never feel stress. So potential stress. So a lot of times you will not have active emotion of stress thinking that, hey, I'm feeling stressed out, nor can you recall sometimes maybe the past behavior or something like that. But if we have formed an expectation, or if we have formed a belief that, hey, this must not happen to me, I will not tolerate this. So that may not hurt you right now, but the moment that situation comes across that you don't control, you're going to feel tremendous stress because of that situation. Because what you did, you set up yourself for stress by making that hard line for you, right? So what we say is to be practical in life. And how do you, in one line, how do I summarize this knowledge? Change our attitude, or change your expectation level from must to might. So we oftentimes, when we think of achieving something or doing something, we think, hey, this must happen. I must have to have this, or this must happen this way. Rather than must, say, look, your efforts are one of the factors in making it happen, but there is no guarantee that that may or may not happen. So it might happen. So if you leave it, you may want to try and you may want to hope, but if you expect it that way and if you draw that hard line that it must happen, then it's just setting up for stress. You're in potential stress right now. You just don't realize it, if that makes sense.
So does that mean that they're attached to the outcome?
Yes, they are, right? They're
actions?
attached, and we all are attached to the outcomes, right? But if we can recognize that our efforts are only one of the factors in making the outcome or getting the outcome, then we realize that we leave the room open for the other factors and the fact that we don't necessarily control everything. And so, more we pay our attention to our own efforts, and then we detach from the end outcome, more the chances that we will remain stress-free.
Great. What's one way to be detached from an outcome? Because that's a uphill battle.
Pritesh, you want to talk about it?
So multiple. One of the ways, of course, having backups to backups. Plan A to Z. If you are expecting certain results and you absolutely want it, just hope for the best, prepare for the worst. If you plan it that way, you're definitely gonna. These are, although it's a cliche, everybody knows about it, but if we plan about it, and if it doesn't happen, like the worst case scenario, what can happen, and I'm prepared for it. Mentally, just having that thought will help you handle any situation. That does not mean you stop working for the best. You work hard. At the same time, when the results come out, you're prepared for the worst. One of the things that Prerit pointed out, there are multiple factors playing a role in making that outcome happen. And only one of that factor is under your control, but the rest aren't under your control. So despite your best efforts, it may not happen. Understanding this concept is crucial. We call it 5 some way. So there's more technical terminology to it. It's very well defined in Jainism, but focusing on, your efforts and expecting that despite my best efforts, situation may go wrong, will help you stay detached from the outcome. This is one single way that will help you stay positive in whatever the situation be.
And there is another aspect to it too. So another aspect is oftentimes there is a notion around positive thinking that, what is a positive thinking? People think that expect that things will go your way is a positive thinking for a lot of people, right? But in StressAcademy and in Jain philosophy, we call that actually a negative thinking. Why is it a negative thinking? Because if you're always expecting things will go your way, you're actually setting up yourself more and more for, becoming stressed, because there is no guarantee that things will go your way, right? So you first having that understanding that you don't control every factor. You only thing you can do is make your best effort That is one thing to remain detached. Second thing is, a lot of times we don't really like to think about the worst outcomes or the failures. So in our mind, we try to, hey, I don't want to think about it. Let me just stay away from it. And that's also, avoiding the problem. Rather than avoiding the problem, you want to take it head on. You want to imagine what if. So what if this happens? Let it take to the next level. So a lot of times, if you're worried about certain failure, ask what if that happens. Face it in your mind before it becomes real. And when you face it, you will realize that it's not as worse as you think. It's not going to be making you like miserable forever. You still have a free will to stay happy and stay calm even in among that situation. And more than that, you also have an ability to improve your efforts and do better next time. Try next time.
Great. Thank you. Manoj has a question of which books were mentioned for sources of this information, of the information that you provided in the presentation. If you could pull up that slide and maybe we can put some in the comments also.
Sure. So I'll mention it here. Those two books from Jain philosophy are Panchastikaya Sangra and Pravachan Sar. They're actually books written by Acharya Kunkun in the 1st century CE, but nowadays there are lots of commentaries in Hindi as well as Gujarati as well as in English. Even English translations are available too. They go into a lot of classical details about Jain philosophy, 6 substance and 9 fundamentals and all of those details. So all we are trying to do here is StressAcademy. We're trying to distill that knowledge down to in a plain, simple English so that everyone can easily understand it without really feeling that they have to become a monk.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I hope that Manoj was able to maybe take a screenshot of this so he could have this information for later. Let's see. Another question from Preeti. Does it mean we should not dream or work hard to achieve the dream or not have ambition or not do any innovation?
Pritesh, you want to go take this?
Sure. So, it goes back to the same discussion, right? You have to do your best, work hard, give in all your effort, but stay detached from the outcome. It does not tell you that, oh, you should not be expecting, you should not be working hard towards excellence. But when you work hard, when you give an exam, when you take an exam, there is 2 possibilities. Either you are successful or you are not successful. Now, if you don't prepare yourself for the other outcome, you're setting up yourself for really, really serious adverse outcomes in terms of your mental state. But if you focus on working hard and detach yourself from the, so you plan something that this is what I want to achieve. At the same time, if it doesn't happen, I'm prepared for it. And as Prerit said, you learn from that experience, even if you fail, to work hard the next time. It does not mean that you give up. Anitya bhavana itself will help you in this process, that nothing is permanent. So even if we fail, it's not permanent. We can try again. So for every single question, there is very detailed philosophy to actually guide you and make you successful eventually. So expecting it right there and then, there are plenty of stories, plenty of movies that you see that those who fail still come out as successful eventually. Just that expectation that I'm going to be successful, I'm going to have this, and this is the only way I'm going to have it, that is the problem. If we think that way, we are setting ourselves for a really stressful situation to the point that people end up committing suicide. And as I said, it's such a common thing. So
also the ambitions, and nothing wrong with the ambition, but the ambitions have to be reasonable to a point that it shouldn't be at the expense of your physical, mental, and emotional health, right? Because that won't be sustainable, and like there are many examples we find that many successful people committing suicides and stuff. So again, ambition, nothing wrong with ambitions, but again, we have to be mindful of our situation. Everyone's individual situation is different, and striking a balance. So in Jainism, there are 4 priorities that has to be balanced in life. And most animals do this too. Like we earn and we eat, right? We spend. Even animals do that. They collect and they eat. What makes humans so special? Because they have an ability to achieve 2 more priorities, or 2 more types of goals. So they are social welfare and the self welfare. So you have to also leave time for your social welfare as well as welfare of your own self. And what does that include? Self-welfare includes understanding the right principles and having the right knowledge and right belief, so that you don't get stressed out and you become more and more resilient day by day.
Wow. Okay, great. Thank you for that, for the amazing response. I think that is the end of this Q&A session. I would like to remind everybody to please turn on your video, because we are going to take a screenshot of everybody and post it on social media. So please, everybody, I know there are a whole bunch of people with their videos off. I don't want to start calling people out, but if you could please turn on your videos, we would love to put you in social media and tag everybody. So let's give a couple seconds to click on the video button. And if the team could grab a screenshot, that would be fantastic. Smile. Show some teeth, guys. Awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to thank StressAcademy, Dr. Pritesh Mutha, Prerit Shah, and Dr. Amee Mehta for their fantastic presentation. For Dr. Mehta, I'm so glad you did that meditation live, because that was an amazing experience. Your voice was so soothing. And I think everybody can agree with me when I say this, that we had an amazing experience. So thank you so much for doing that live.
Thank you, Varun. It was my pleasure as well. Thanks for giving this chance.
Definitely.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, YJ.
Definitely, definitely. I know you guys had, I know you, the Dr. Mehta, you had to practice this again and, go back to it. So it took you some time, but I'm so glad you did it. So thank you so much.
For all the audience, I want to mention YJP team has done so much of a background preparation to make this conference successful.
Yes.
And, big round of applause for them, actually.
Thank you,
Yes.
guys.
Please use the applause function, the reactions. Put some applauses up there. That would be fantastic. Show appreciation to our StressAcademy and definitely the whole YJP team who have put this together. But this is not the end. We're on day 2. We have day 3 coming up next Sunday, same time, 2 to 5 Eastern. The theme is innovation. So I hope you guys will join us for this fun session on entrepreneurship, mentorship, and how we can transform ideas into successful businesses, right? And with that, Arpit, if you want to kind of have some final comments.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Varun and Dr. Gandhi. This was amazing. Thank you so much for hosting the session for us. We wanted to thank all the speakers who were there, including StressAcademy. And we do have a feedback link on the chat right now, and we want to make sure that we hear from you guys. So let us know, how did you feel about it? We know that nothing is perfect. So if you have some comments you have to make, if you want to appreciate the team and the speakers, please go ahead, use the feedback link. And if you want us to know something which we can improve for next session, that would be amazing too. So thank you so much. I hope you guys had a great experience with all the sessions. I hope you guys would look forward to speaking to others, reaching out to them and talk to them. If someone around us is under stress, if someone around us is needing help, reach out to them, extend your hand. And then maybe we can show them this video on, further how to get in professional help, right? Because the times are tough, we will resist and we are showing the resilience. And that's what we for today. Thank you so much. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Jai Jinendra.
And